The first thing people notice when you pull into work is not you anymore. It is what you drive. You park in the same lot you always used, walk the same path you always walked, but now people are watching before you even open the door. Someone who never spoke to you suddenly asks questions. Someone jokes that you must be doing well now. Someone else assumes you have influence you never claimed. Nothing about you changed, but the way people measure you did. And once that happens, people start adjusting around you before you even realize it. Because visible money changes something most people do not realize they are responding to. What most people do not notice is how fast financial signals spread through a group. Nobody announces it, nobody votes on it, but the moment something expensive becomes visible, people start adjusting how they position themselves around you. Some become slightly more polite. Some become slightly more careful. Some start assuming you can handle more than before. Not because they want to, because money signals stability. Stability attracts responsibility, and responsibility attracts expectation. This is why small comments start appearing. Jokes about you paying next time, assumptions about what you can afford, questions about what you do now. The car did not just change how people see your income, it changed what they think you can carry. And once people believe you can carry more, they slowly begin placing more weight there without asking. Invitations start sounding different. Decisions start including you differently. Costs start drifting in your direction. Not openly, not aggressively, quietly, like gravity. Because visible financial signals do something subtle inside groups. They change who looks like the safest place to place pressure. And once pressure finds a stable place, it rarely moves back. Most people do not learn this reaction as adults. They learned it much earlier, in small moments that had nothing to do with money. The responsible child was trusted more. The calm child was leaned on more. The one who handled problems became the one problems were given to, not because they asked for it, because they looked capable. This pattern does not disappear when people grow up. It just changes form. Adults still scan rooms the same way children scan families, looking for who looks stable, looking for who looks safe, looking for who looks like they will not collapse under pressure. Then, pressure slowly moves there. This is why visible financial stability becomes a social magnet, not because people are calculating, because people are conditioned. The person who looks like they can handle more slowly becomes the person expected to handle more. And most of this happens automatically. Nobody announces the shift. Nobody explains the expectation. It just settles into place, like roles people forgot they agreed to. And once someone is seen as stable, people begin protecting their own stability by leaning toward that person without realizing they are doing it. When people see visible stability, something automatic activates. Not a thought, a reaction. Humans constantly scan for where pressure can safely go. Not consciously, quietly, like balance adjusting. When someone looks financially secure, they start looking emotionally secure too, even if that is not true. Even if nothing about their inner life changed, the signal alone is enough because stability suggests capacity. Capacity suggests safety, and safety attracts dependence. This is why conversations begin shifting in small ways. Complaints get directed toward you. Problems get mentioned around you. Financial topics start appearing near you. Not directly, gradually, because people move pressure toward what looks least likely to break. This is not manipulation. This is survival behavior most people never notice they are participating in. Groups naturally protect their strongest point, and sometimes the strongest point becomes the person who simply looks the most financially stable. Once that happens, expectations begin forming before agreements ever exist. People start assuming availability, assuming flexibility, assuming resilience. And the person receiving this pressure often doesn't notice when the shift began, only when the weight feels different. This is where the quiet conflict begins, because while other people adjust how they see you, your identity usually stays where it was. You still remember who you were before anything changed. You still remember when money was tight. You still remember not being the stable one. But now, people respond to you like you have always been this version. And that creates tension most people never talk about, because part of you still feels like the same person, while the outside world starts treating you like something else. This is why some people start downplaying what they have, parking further away, avoiding conversations about money, minimizing visible success, not to hide wealth, to protect identity. Because when your visible stability rises faster than your internal identity adjusts, people begin interacting with a version of you you may not fully recognize yet. And the distance between how you see yourself and how others position you quietly starts growing. And the more this gap grows, the more carefully people begin managing how visible they allow their success to be. Because once people assign you a higher financial position, it becomes harder to return to being seen as equal again, even if you never asked for the change. Because hierarchy, once seen, is hard for people to unsee, and even harder for them to ignore. What changes is not just perception, it's behavioral permission. Visible financial signals quietly change what people feel allowed to assume about you. If you look stable, people feel safer asking more. If you look successful, people feel safer expecting more. If you look financially ahead, people feel safer positioning you ahead. This is not usually intentional, it's structural. Groups constantly reorganize around whoever appears to reduce uncertainty, and visible money reduces uncertainty. It suggests backup plans, it suggests margin, it suggests resilience. So people begin assigning invisible roles: the stable one, the responsible one, the one who can cover gaps, the one who will probably understand. And once someone is placed into that role, people begin interacting with the role instead of the person. Expectations begin attaching to the position, not the individual. And most people never realize when they stopped reacting to you and started reacting to what you represent. Because once financial signals become visible, people begin using them as shortcuts to decide who absorbs pressure first. Once people begin seeing you as financially stable, your behavior often begins adjusting in response, not dramatically, quietly. You may start thinking twice before showing financial strain. You may hesitate to admit pressure. You may avoid appearing uncertain. Because once people see stability, showing instability begins to feel like losing position. So people begin managing perception, choosing what to reveal, choosing what to hide, choosing when to speak, choosing when to stay quiet. Not because they changed, because their position changed. And higher positions come with narrower behavioral margins, less room to appear unsure, less room to appear overwhelmed, less room to step back. Because once someone becomes seen as the stable one, stepping away can start to look like failure instead of fatigue. And over time, this creates something subtle: self-monitoring, watching how much difficulty you allow others to see, watching how much pressure you admit, watching how much vulnerability feels safe to show. And this is where financial visibility quietly becomes behavioral pressure most people never agreed to carry. Most people think respect comes from personality, or confidence, or communication. But visible financial signals often change respect before any of those things have a chance to matter. Not because people are shallow, because people are constantly trying to understand where everyone stands. And money is one of the fastest signals the brain uses to make that decision. The car is not what changed you. It changed how quickly people decide where you belong. And once people decide where you belong, they begin interacting with that position, whether you agree with it or not. Which means sometimes the respect is not for you, it is for what people believe you represent. And the difficult question most people eventually run into is not whether the respect is real, it's whether they were treated differently before anyone saw the signal.